GM, everybody. Happy Thursday. Got the new graphics, got the new Emblem AI handle, and we've got a lot of migrations to discuss.
Huge.
Adam, how are we feeling today?
Bro, we got a lot going on, man.
Adam's tired.
Awesome. Bro, it is awesome, but it's it's been how many I mean, you make me look like I don't know how many DMs I send a day. I don't know, 100. You're like 500 a day. It's nuts. I gotta say, yeah, but I guess the pro version of Whisper is paying dividends, man. That's for 1,000%, right?
Dude, the voice to text dictation is life changing. Like I'm telling you, it saves me probably 3-4 hours a day on responses. I mean, granted, it has errors. It can't get migrate fund for some reason. It keeps putting migrate fund, but I'll gladly go through and have those issues versus getting arthritis in my hands and spending all day pissed typing like the little mouse in the meme. It feels great.
Yeah, bro, the data that you're putting through Whisper Flow is pretty incredible, man. So
don't do passwords, bro. Don't do passwords.
He's like the ultra premium pro user. He's like their top user at the moment. So no, I love to see it, man. You guys are crushing it.
But he hasn't been able to train it to do migrate fund yet. I got it. Migrate fund. Soul was the big one, right? Because anytime I put soul, it would put SOUL. That was like the big one. Yeah, but you definitely got to train it.
It just means you're early, you know. If it's got errors, you're early. Migrate fund early. Migrate fund early.
Although I did say migrate fund is actually a great name, man.
That's kind of a banger, like parlay, you know.
Migrate fund. Yeah, it was a busy day this week. 2 gigantic migrations that happened today. Some coming with their own edge cases and issues, but everything is now I guess you would say on the exit or on the end. I think we've came to solutions for all of them, identified. It's kind of funny, we were talking about this yesterday in our chat about when you have a product like Migrate Fund that is an on-chain, I guess you call it almost a provocateur. Like it helps projects move in a way that impacts a lot of on-chain and off-chain products. And it's gotten to the point now where these exchanges kind of have to play with the game that's being played with Migrate Fund, right? It's kind of like, hey, you have to get in line with what's happening here, or there is going to be absolute chaos that happens. And each time there's a large migration that happens, a handful of these exchanges feel the wrath of that protocol.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, hey guys, we told you. Like, how many times have we notified all these exchanges? 1 million times about what's happening. And then it's not until something drastic happens to where they're like, oh shit, we should probably pay attention. And we're like, bro, we told you this like 50 times.
I mean, I won't name the exchange, but they were like, okay, we're going to delist the token. And then the token rips. And they're like, oh, wait. It's like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Wait, bro. It's like, it's crazy, man. It is. I mean, part of the thing is just dealing with these guys. And I mean, the teams now know this as well, but you're just dealing with bureaucracies. And they're just layers to it where the big ones are really top heavy. You know, the Binances of the world are just super huge, thick bureaucracies. And, you know, they can't move, man. It's like they're really, really tough to move. But they do move eventually when they have hundreds of users complaining. Like that is the thing that gets them off their asses.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, but made a lot of progress. Migrations, Michi and WAR seen tremendous interest, obviously tremendous confusion maybe, or FUD on the timeline as well. We do got Jex on stage. Jex, are you with us?
Jex.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, guys?
What's good, brother? How does it feel now to be on the other side of this, or at least mostly on the other side of it?
Well, I mean, I think, we're on the other side of this in terms of we're actually on a new CA.
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be I think the hard part is actually what's ahead, right? But we definitely got, through with the most, how should I say this? The most difficult part in terms of for our holders anyways, right? Like if you're just a holder, you're not on the team, you're not, actually working on it. The hard part's over for you guys, right? So in that sense, it feels good, right? We definitely got we got a lot of attention. Anyone who's on CT, like the day before we migrated, I think it was the 9th. Like literally everyone was talking about Michi, right? And because of that, a lot of other OG coins got a lot of bids, right? We saw Billy get a lot of bids. We literally saw like people were just hunting for, for OG coins from, around 2024. I think that was also really good, right? I mean, it brought back a lot of nostalgic vibes. A lot of the people who were, who were really into memes, right? Because back then the trenches were actually about memes. I mean, not so much lately, but I think it was really good. I mean, the migration was great. I mean, you guys have been, very helpful. But I think it was Adam who was just talking about exchanges. Yeah, right. A lot of these exchanges are, they're kind of hard to work with. But after we migrated, a lot of them are being nicer too. So hopefully we'll get that done as well.
Yeah, on the live stream daily, Michi says, "Is Jex speaking?" Yeah, that is Jex on stage with us.
How are you looking at it now? Obviously, as like a meme coin, there's this like, okay, you got a relatively good amount to migrate. Obviously, you had quite a lot of people migrate, after they saw that chart to go to 0, which everybody knew that was going to be the big wake up call. How are you looking at it now, though? Obviously, the from a kind of trying to gather the old community to come to the new token. How are you just looking at that from like a marketing kind of angle and perspective?
Well, so in terms of our older community, right? I think what made Michi really special was its community, right? A lot of the people who buy into Michi, they might have missed this migration, right? And that's when we went about it. When we set the penalty, we only set 5% because we know, Michi for a lot of people wasn't just like a quick flip or whatever, right? There might be a lot of people who might have bought and just went AFK, right? Yep. And so that's why we're going to continue pushing the late migration, or reminding people of it. We have people in the TG. There's always people coming in. They're like, "Oh, I missed this migration." We have pin messages set up. We have everything set up in a way where it's really easy for someone who, if they missed it, they can come into the TG. They can go on our Twitter. They can still find how to migrate, right? And of course, this is for 90 days, right? 90 days is 5%. And of course, what if I missed that 90 days, right? And we also thought about that. On all the FAQs that we put out, I especially mentioned, hey, if it's over 90 days, just shoot me a DM and then we could do a case-by-case review, right? And the reason why it's going to be case-by-case is you're going to have people who are going to try to take advantage of this, right? Whenever you try to be nice, someone tries to take advantage of it, right? That's why I just like that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions too, right? I don't know if I'm using it right, but the point is, whenever you try to do something nice, someone tries to fuck it up, and then, that's why, we explicitly say it's going to be a case-by-case review, right? So for us, we're definitely going to, we want to bring as many of, our existing community members with us along for the ride. We don't want to leave anyone behind, and we're going to make a very dedicated effort to make sure that happens.
Yeah, exactly. There are tons of bad actors out there, tons of migration impersonations. It's insane.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, like, just from my DMs, I'm not kidding when I tell you I literally have like over 1,000 DMs from people who are just like scammers, right? Like scammers, not even the real DMs. Hello? And then, and then people in our TG, they'll be like, "Oh, I got added to this spoofed Telegram." It's happened happens all the time. Like, you would think that Telegram would be able to somehow, alleviate some of these issues because, even from last cycle, this thing was happening. they're basically using the same tactics from like 2020, 2021, right? And it's still not fixed. And it kind of boggles my mind how, whether it's Telegram or any of these third-party bots that we're using, to help fight these, scammers, spammers, whatever, that, there's no solution yet. So, I mean, it's up to everyone to be safe, right? So,
yeah. And we're still working out some edge cases. So there are a few Michi holders, or I guess you'd say DeFi goers who'd reached out, who had their Michi in a Meteor LP or Jupiter Limit or something like that. So if anyone from Michi or WAR or Y2K ran into this issue, please just DM us, and we handle it by case basis. Again, right, there's tons of scammers, fake accounts, things like that. So just follow up and we'll handle them. We are getting towards the end of this now, the 90-day claim period. I mean, it's kind of interesting. I put a post out, I was kind of joking, but Michi had about 38% migrated. And then within the first 12 hours of the migration, there was 10% of the supply in late claims, because we had mentioned that there's no better way to get somebody's attention than to send the chart to zero, right? That's when everyone comes in and they're like, oh, what the hell happened, right? And then other people who are trying to engagement farm start posting about it. So then anyone who holds Michi then starts looking at it and they're like, oh, fuck, what happened, right? And so they start assessing. As long as you could kind of get through that like thick filter, you essentially, at the end of the day, you have everyone's attention, right? Which is kind of the most important thing, especially in meme coins. So now everyone knows. And also, too, I saw that Pump was promoting all of the migrations, so bringing a lot more attention, which is great, because that's always what we've asked for from all the partnered launchpads was, hey, just show these migrations some love. You don't have to tag Migrate Fund. I understand those reasons, but please just show love to the teams who have migrated to your platform, right?
Yeah, and also a big shout out to Jason, I think from Pump Fund, the head of content creation. I was in his DMs. He was helping me out with, because at first my dev wallet, and this is just, for everyone to know, Pump Fund does not allow ledgers to connect. So if you're migrating, don't, just be aware of that. So basically what I had to do, I had to apply for a CTO. Jason helped me with that. It was super helpful. And then I was also in the DMs. I said, hey, we'd love a shout out. And then he got it done in like 5 minutes. So shout out to him.
Yeah, that was that was the first time I actually got to meet Jason when he invited him. We got invited into our Pump Migrate chat. Very cool guy. So now we have a direct connection there for anybody who has any issues related to wallet sign-ins, content, I guess community relations and such. So
yeah,
they're putting a lot more attention onto migrations, because it seems to be working, and it's just cool to see that they're giving the migrating projects a lot of love, because that's just what we ask for.
Yeah. Hello, Emblem family.
How's it going, Boogie?
Hey.
It's going good. I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt. I know it's about migrations. So I was just I'm a little trader, so I'm just trading on chain, and I saw like a token that was connected to Agent Hustle wallets that were deployed. Do you guys? Is that some type of test? It's called Ask Me. I don't know if you guys know anything about it, but it's pretty
scam,
cool.
bro.
Pump Fund.
Might be a scam.
It's a scam.
Possibly. It's probably Ask Me. So there. Well, there are. It depends on which wallet are you looking at.
Well, it was deployed 30 minutes ago.
Oh, that's not us. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just some weird connections to the wallet then.
Yep.
Is it?
Okay, have a good day, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah, we only have one token called Hustle, which we're actually migrating to the Emblem token, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is going to become the token of Migrate Fund. So we do have some plans in store as the migration takes place for not just us holders, but everyone who supports the Migrate Fund platform, which is a lot. I think actually after this recent migration group, there was like 3,000 people who 3,000 people who migrated through WAR. That's through the actual migration window. And I think Michi had like 500 to 1,000. So I think there's like getting close to 20,000 or 25,000 wallets that have migrated, and it's in the history of the platform, which is a pretty good mark. So no, appreciate you for reaching out and asking about that. If anyone is ever curious about anything, always follow up and ask. It will probably save you your life savings. I've been I've been hacked, exploited many times. I know the feeling of that. It is not fun, especially when it's like in 6-figure range. It hurts quite bad.
And I mean, the scammers are out in absolute full force. I mean, I'm just checking through the Migrate Fund, notifications and stuff, and you see people have a question like, how do I migrate, whatever, and there's 145 comments below their comment, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like worse than MetaMask in saying the word MetaMask in 2021. Like, it's endless. So don't trust anything. Obviously, we all have the badge next to our names, but just don't trust anything, right? Just go official.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sorry, Adam. Sorry to cut you off. You know what was crazy is, you know how you guys have that gold check, right? And then you have the
Sure.
the little emblem.
Yep.
There was I literally saw a fake Migrate fund with a gold check. I'm not even kidding.
100%.
Wow.
That's what I know.
Like, that was crazy. Like yo, you're paying for a gold check. Just I mean, that's
Yeah, these scammers will basically gold check an account with a random name, XYZ PDQ, pay the $1,000, and then lay in wait for the right opportunity, and then change the name, keep the check, and start DMing or answering questions or whatever. And so yeah, I mean, it's a whack-a-mole game. We I don't know how many ones we've reported and stuff, but even that doesn't even matter. It's endless. It'll never stop. So yeah, it's just gotta be super careful, everybody out there. But crazy times, man.
Congrats on the migration, Jex. You guys put out a post basically just kind of saying what it was. Like, anyone that needs engagement has been tweeting about Michi for the past 4 or 5 days. So that's definitely the place to be.
Yeah. And honestly, sorry, just to add to that, a lot of it was perceived FUD, but at the end of the day, right? What is meme coins all about? Meme coins are always about attention, right? Whether you're talking about Michi, and that's all that matters. And,
exactly.
Even the haters, they're gonna look at it, right?
Or FUD posts, man.
Yeah.
The
funniest part about that is that you guys go through it once. Migrate Fund goes through it every single time. We're out with the scammers, so it's definitely nothing new. There is obviously it was a super high profile migration. You've addressed it millions of times already, but you just want to clear the air. There will be a bunch of people that listen to this. Why did you guys migrate? Just a concise summary real quick. Let everyone know, is it a scam, or what's the reasoning behind the migration doing so far?
I mean, look, for anyone who's all right, for anyone who's listening and they want to know that no, this is not a scam. All right, there's a couple of reasons why this is not a scam. Right. First of all, I've been working on Michi for almost 2 years. I think if you're in the Michi community, you're not saying this is a scam, right? That's number one. Anyone who's saying this is a scam, they're from the outside looking in, and I don't blame them for saying that, right? Because there's so many bad actors in this space, right? So most things in this space is a scam, not just migrations, right? Like most things are scams. So number one, it's not a scam because literally everyone working on this, we've been in Michi for almost 2 years. Number two, how are you going to call this a scam when we're already down like 99% from the like we're not we're not some project at our all-time high and we're trying to steal millions of dollars. Like, I mean, it's not what it's about, right? We're literally trying to give new life to a meme coin that we all love and that we don't want to see just be forgotten into the endless abyss of millions of Solana meme coins that are just at zero, right? I mean, everyone wants to shit on the Michi migration. They want to fund it. They want to say we're scamming, we're doing this and that. But like, bro, the only reason you're even talking about Michi is because of the migration, right?
Exactly.
So if it weren't for this migration, no one except people who are in Michi would even be talking about it, right? And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, just leave Michi alone. You're trying to steal this, you're trying to steal that. Like, bro, like I am literally the one posting on Michi every single day for almost like past 2 years. Like, how are you gonna say that, right? Like, I am trying, and it's not just me. It's like literally we have a group of over 20 guys who are hardcore OG Michi guys who we came together and we made this decision, right? And then we brought it to the world, and then they were all on board with it. So it's not it's literally the people who care the most about Michi are trying to give it new life. We're trying to do things the right way, right? And sometimes the right way isn't the easy way, or like, a way that makes people feel comfortable, right? And I was saying this in our group chat the other day. Sometimes it's, to build something back up, you kind of have to tear it down first, right? A lot of people, they're holding on to like, oh, the chart, oh, but the, this, but the that. But like, okay, but what does that do for Michi moving forward? It literally does nothing, right? A lot of the times, you kind of have to rebuild that foundation to move forward. Right? And that's, basically why we decided to migrate. Yeah.
One thing that I think people don't really realize is even if pre-migration Michi and post-migration Michi are the same market cap, the same community and everything else, the team itself and the token itself is in a much better position post-migration because of creator rewards. Now they have money to actual income to fuel the growth, to try new things, to continue experimenting. So it's not always just like what you see in the chart. It's not always what you see on the timeline. It's actually what's happening behind the scenes. And so obviously we're super bullish on migrations. Think that everything went extremely well with you guys. The attention was crazy, and I just look forward to seeing that continue.
Yeah. And I think, what people forget is, migrations are not a new thing, right? They're not something that just popped up, with Migrate. And of course, you guys are providing a very useful tool for, this cycle of meme coins, right? This cycle of not just meme coins, this cycle of coins where, the LP is burned essentially. But if you look back to last cycle, migrations were pretty common.
Yeah.
Like there were always, people realize, oh, we didn't write the smart contract correctly. Oh, we want to fix this, we want to fix that. Like this is very normal, right? Well, it used to be very normal. And another guy on our spaces that we hosted ourselves, and I don't know if this is true or not. He said Floki migrated like 3 times.
I heard that too, actually.
Yeah, I don't know if it's real or not. Don't quote me. The fact that so many people are, initially against it is kind of mind-boggling. Well, not mind-boggling. It kind of makes sense, right? But at the same time, it's, you kind of have to look at who's doing it, right? Don't just, there's going to be people who want to migrate for bad intentions, no doubt. But that's literally in any tool, right? Any tool you're using. And I made a post about this before where, migration, in my opinion, is a tool. It's like a gun, right? In a way, where you have people who are going to use it to commit murder, do some very bad things, right? But then you have people who use it to do very good things, right? And, at least for Michi, we're going to be using it to do very good things. So.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better. Actually, migrations go back to like 2011, 2012, the very first days of crypto. Actually, our company Emblem migrated from a layer 1 blockchain called Ribbit Rewards in 2016 to Bitcoin on counterparty called Coval-C. So our company itself has gone through 4 or 5 migrations over its 10-year history or 11-year history. And before, migrations were actually like, you had this small window. They're like the 100% penalty option. In the Migrate Fund platform was historically how migrations were. It was you participate and you have to basically go into this migration at this time. If you miss it, you're SOL, because it was such a manual process, right? You didn't really have smart contracts. It was like basically the project owner had to do every migration one by one by hand in a very manual process. It was before snapshots even existed. Airdrop tools didn't exist. It was like a spreadsheet on both sides where the project administrator had to manually verify things one by one. But now, since crypto's evolved, Jex is right. In 2021, migrations were very common. The main difference between 2021 and 2024 is the lock liquidity pool. In 2021, every LP, or the majority of them, were unlocked, right? So what's that mean? It means you don't have to do this like get all the tokens and sell it into the LP pool. The team would just take a snapshot of the holders, pull the LP, and then airdrop them. But because of the proliferation of launch pads on Solana, now it seems like Pump Fund is going to be on all these different chains. It seems like lock liquidity pools are going to be here into the near future, at least, or short term to medium term. And so the idea of migrate fund is only just going to become more popular as there's more launch pads, more tokens, more projects, but also that the variety of people who migrate, whether you're a meme coin, right? Like an OG meme coin, like Michi, whether you're, a meme coin project like WAR, who was in a system that they felt like they weren't being heard and wanted to be somewhere else, whether you're an AI project migrating like ourselves, we've had privacy projects, we've had just a whole variety. I got to say, with the Michi migration, first time though, Adam and I had to do it. Discovery call 15 people on the call. So that was kind of fun. Usually it's like one or two, but then there was
a discovery call. 100%.
Right. So it really comes down to the specific situation, because what a migration is, it's just a moving company, right? You're helping people start in one place and move from one ecosystem to another, whether that's intra blockchain, like on Solana, or you're going inter blockchain or intra blockchain from like Solana to EVM. We're actually going to be helping Bobo, who's also an OG meme coin on ETH, migrate to Pump Fund. That's currently what our team is working on, right? So you're getting now cross-chain migrations. And at the end of the day, what is it? It's just moving. Humans are made to move. Companies move in the real world, right? Chris and I live in Las Vegas. There's companies that move all across the city consistently. Nightclubs go from one casino to the other. DJs get residencies from one casino to the other. Companies move out of California because they hate the political environment and are going to Texas and Florida, right? And companies ship cars across the world, from import, export, Japanese, right? Cars from into America, and companies go international. And it's kind of what crypto is, right? And so what's happening with Migrate Fund is it's just taking that exact idea and then just applying it on chain to projects. And bridges do this as well with fungible tokens, right? You're just taking your value, right? If you have WBTC, you're literally taking your value from coin or from Bitcoin and importing it into a new country of Ethereum to go use it within their ecosystem. It would be like taking the US dollar and going over to Europe and spending it. It's kind of the same idea here. It's just now that crypto has the tools to allow the migration of liquidity, the migration of utility, right? The migration of communities. And so it's really, really, really cool time. And I only see this kind of idea accelerating. Yes, it's not a perfect system right now, but we are working through fixing everything that comes with it, right? Whether it's on-chain issues like people having their tokens in a third-party smart contract, or off-chain things like working with centralized exchanges that have gigantic levels of bureaucracy. But it's all being worked out in time. One thing that I've learned is that the on-chain economy is definitely in control now. Like, the exchanges kind of have to work with us, which is really, really cool to see, because we've been saying this since I've been in crypto for 10 years, that DEX volumes would overtake centralized volumes. And that's about to happen here pretty soon. But it's also on-chain protocols are now beginning to overtake off-chain protocols.
Yeah, certainly feels like that volume's there. Yeah, it's super interesting. I think, and Michi did a great job with the, not that they necessarily did anything, but we definitely saw, the migration squeeze towards the end. And, it's just funny. I'm just chuckling inside. It's like they're criming the chart. It's like, maybe, I don't know. The token's sitting there for, a year in a zone, and then it just rips higher. Is that the migration squeeze, or is it, the OGs criming the chart? Well, if they're criming it up, you can sell, man. If you don't want to take part in the migration, great opportunity. They just 6x'd or 8x'd or whatever you guys did. It was pretty impressive. That was like a great example of the migration squeeze. I got a lot of pushback. I don't know if you guys caught some flack on the timeline for that. For us facilitating this rug was pretty funny on the timeline over the last couple of days. But yeah, it was great to see that, and a perfect example of what can happen, in the last 12, 24 hours of a migration.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely it was it was pretty fun. But what was more funny was, like you said, the next day, right? It's like, oh, Michi rug.
Classic.
It's like, yeah, okay, bro.
And there's people that are like, this is a two-step rug or a 3-step rug. Well, it's like if the founder wanted a rug, you could just do 1 step. Why is it going through all these additional steps? Other people are like, how much is Migrate Fund bribing these founders? And it's like, well, it's not like we make a ton of money off these migrations. We make enough money, but if we were splitting it with anybody, it'd be no money. So it's just like the incentives aren't there. If founders wanted to rug their coin, it happens hundreds of times every single day. They don't need Migrate Fund to do that. They've been doing it for years. They're going to continue doing it for years. If you literally look at it from like a genuine perspective, but almost by far and large, the majority of teams that have gone through the Migrate Fund platform are serious founders that are trying to build their communities and build their tokens. So I think intentions are generally pretty pure. Obviously, you can't get everyone, but for the most part, we're doing good work over here.
Yeah, good work. It's exciting time to be in the crypto world. Yeah, excited to see where Michi goes. I know the Pump team's excited to have them. We've gotten a lot of other projects reaching out saying that they liked what happened with Michi and they're encouraged to also migrate. So we'll kind of see where that all leads to here into the future. But congrats to Michi for a successful migration. Everyone has 90 days to claim their tokens, right? And as Jack said, after the 90 days, if there's an issue you missed, you're on vacation or whatever the reason is, just reach out to them and they'll get it handled. And that's generally what we've seen with most migrations that have ended. I think there's like 20 that have gone through their 90-day claim period already. You just reach out to the founders and they'll handle it, right? We do 90 days, and I'll just clarify this. The reason why we do 90 days is for a few reasons. One is to protect the users, right, from any type of malicious activity of a team. If those tokens are locked in the claims vault for 90 days and you know that the team does not have possession of them, it basically gives you a 90-day vetting period. If you enjoy what the team is doing, a project owner, then you just continue to hold, right? Also for exchanges, as we were saying, and a lot of teams have seen, when you get exchanges involved, they have multi-week procedural processes that have to happen. They also make mistakes. They're not perfect as well, right? So you got to give them time to handle things. And then any type of like edge case tickets of your tokens were in a wallet that you lost the key to, or your tokens were again in an LP and you weren't paying attention, or you got scared and sold the ticket, your tokens, right? Or there's infinite amount of reasons that people reach out for. So we do that to give people a period of time. But then at the end of the day, we're not trying to hold your tokens forever, right? We're assisting with the migration process, but we're not going to dictate what you're going to do with your tokens. That's the project's decision only. So we try to set up a fair system that is equitable to everybody and make sure that everyone is heard, from the migrating team to the partnered exchanges to the token holders to Migrate Fund. And so that's kind of the medium. I know some people like to say, oh, you unlock all of the tokens at the end and therefore then the holder is going to dump it all. I think that's happened once so far of about 80 projects, right? As I said, you're not going to get, unfortunately not going to get all of them, but we do try to work on all the different solutions over time, and it's only going to continue to get better. So,
and to sorry, Jake, to add on to that, I mean, if it's actually only 1 out of 80, for anyone listening, if you're trading on Solana, I mean, that's way better. Those odds are way better than
way better.
Buying any new pair on Solana.
I think we've had I don't know, maybe 3 legit rugs out of that whole group. One waited till the end, but all
the Kitty One team, they got the tokens and dumped immediately. There's been a few projects that migrated and then closed up business. Like they put a post out and basically said, hey, we tried to make the migration work. Ultimately, it didn't save us, and so we're closing up business. Some people call that rug. I just say it's just a failure of business. Like in the typical world, if you file for bankruptcy and your business and you tell everyone what's happening, like that's not like a scam. That's just, hey, we tried and the business failed, right? And then there's a few kind of questionable ones with accusations, right? Like the one with Radar. The Radar team was exploited, and then their product was exploited, and the token kind of went to zero, and people claiming that the Radar team sold their tokens, although there's no proof, but there's claims, right? So it's like you don't really know for sure. But I think Kitty is legit the only one who immediately sold like within a few seconds of claiming their tokens.
Well,
right?
It's like the I think somebody put it when I was describing actually to a team. I can't remember what it was now, but he said it right. It's like the 90-day claim window where teams don't have access to the token. It doesn't guarantee a rug. It just delays a rug. So if that team wants to rug, they have to wait 90 days, right? So there's no guarantee they're not going to rug, right? It's just, it puts everybody, I think what it does is it puts it in a transparent kind of timeline that everybody can agree to. And, but again, at the end of the day, teams can always rug. But it does put just a transparent way of delaying it if they were going to do it. But we've been very fortunate so far.
I mean, I think here's the thing, and something to add on, right? And this is from the perspective of, like the Solana trenches, right? This doesn't apply if you're, somewhere else. But at least in terms of Solana, right? Like most people who are trying to rug, they're not gonna, bother to jump through all these hoops, right? There's so many different ways to, to scam, to, try to rug people or try to, do these type of get money quick things that, to go through all these hoops and to wait another 90 days, like why? Like, if,
there are easier ways to scam a project. Right?
Yeah, I mean, right, and that's the thing, right? Like so many people when we first put out the migration for Michi, they were saying, I'm just trying to scam, I'm trying to do this and that. It's like, bro, if I really wanted to, scam the Michi community, I could have just relaunched it myself. I could have bought up all the supply myself for way cheaper. I could have, sold the socials. I've had so many people ask me to, buy Michi socials. Like, bro, I mean, and of course, I can only speak for myself, right? Of course, there's still going to be people who try to exploit, the migration. But just in general, if you're just talking about probability-wise, right, your probability of getting scammed on a migration is far less than, elsewhere on Solana. So I just wanted to add that.
What is this token that I'm seeing people say that Emblem launched this token now? What the fuck is going on here?
I think it's that one guy pushing it. He DM'd me. I think I just found he tried to DM me earlier today. I think it's just some guys trying to push it. So.
It has one holder.
Yeah.
It's probably that guy, bro.
Yeah,
he
probably launched it. The space earlier today, bro.
He probably launched it. He came on your space to soft show it, and then
exactly, bro. Exactly. Bing. That's how you do a scam, man. You DM everybody. You come on a space. That's how, and then you rug it all. You're the only holder.
Mr. Wizard, what's good, bro?
Wizard,
what's up, players? How we doing?
Good. Congrats.
Sorry, I was on another call.
You're good, dude. We're just kind of hanging out here. How's it feel? First, congrats on the migration and on the next move. I saw that you had to put out a few posts as well.
Thank you.
But
yes.
Now, how does it feel now being on the other side of it?
I mean, it feels great, dude. I was anticipating a lot of honestly, we had no internal criticism from in the community, which is like what the good part was. Obviously, all the criticism came from external sources. So I was just like, hey, they didn't read the article. Most people just don't read, right? I wrote a very in-depth, thorough article multiple times about like why we're doing it and the benefits. Then they're like, why are you doing this? I was like, did you guys just not read anything? So I tried to just TLDR it down, but honestly, it's going really well. I think that obviously, like us and Michi, right, we're kind of the early pioneers of OG projects that are taking the risk to migrate, and I'm very willing to take the heat and kind of tear through all the bullshit just to explain to people like the benefits for actual teams trying to do something with the token. And after a couple like successful token migrations of OG projects, people will start to understand kind of how the benefits outweigh the negatives, because now, for example, we just partnered with Juice, right? Now we can use our fees to buy back the token, put that into shield campaigns, and then create our own like mini flywheel that redistributes supply into actual community members, which wasn't a possibility before when we had no creator fees. And it's like now this is all possible. So I think there's so much innovation happening with creator fees that benefit actual projects, and it could benefit projects that already have established communities that have been around for a year. So just having to essentially explain to people why this is a thing, why it's necessary, and like eventually just like quiet the peanut gallery that have no input. Like no one gave a fuck. So I don't even know how to curse on here. I know what kind of space.
Feel free.
Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, like people didn't give a fuck about our project before the migration, and I like the audacity for them to have any kind of input now. It's just like fuck off. Like you guys have not been around for a year. Like you guys have not, like the internal renaissance. Everyone in the community has been like avidly open about the benefits of this and the reason why we need to do this and how happy they are. And then people that don't know who we are just like trying to fund it. So I mean, I'm fine with it. I write pretty high quality posts. I get fired up over about that. So no sweat, but yeah, appreciate the smooth migration and now it's over. So fuck yeah.
That it absolutely is. What's next for Y2K?
Yeah, so pretty much like writing out or kind of fly what the juice is set up, and then essentially just like create really fire like shill campaigns. Let that cook for a while, and then there's a lot of ventures we want to pursue. I mean, this is not really like public information yet. I don't know, you know how feasible this is, but the idea that I want to try to do is essentially how can we turn Y2K into a true nostalgia index, and using our creator fees to create a real nostalgia index. So I'll leave it at that because we still have to fine tweak exactly how that could work. But I think you guys brought that idea up last time we spoke, and I don't know who, maybe it was you, Jake. But then I thought about it. I was like, wow, we can actually, and then the idea started clicking about building like a whole like nostalgia index platform. And I was like, okay, this could be sick. So working on trying to do that. And then other people have different ideas that they want to use the IP for. Like someone wants to create like a merch line. Someone wants to do IRL Tamagotchis. So now we're essentially building our community treasury from which we can like have a say about who gets kind of funded within the community to grow our IP and foundation more. So yeah, early inklings of a true digital ecosystem.
I love the long nostalgia. I mean, all right, I'm a millennial, and Gary Vee has been shilling that idea for over a decade at this point. It started with Pokemon cards, but now it seems like it's expanding to kind of early 2000s fashion. I'm starting to see pop up again, and then also the shows, right, are the best, right? Anime and the cartoons from the early 2000s and such.
Yeah, I mean, like the Yu-Gi-Oh, there's like a whole Yu-Gi-Oh like resurgence now with like Timothy Chalamet started posting about it, and now the cards are starting to go up in value. Essentially, all just nostalgic 2000s IP is starting to just go through the roof. Like it reminds me very, very eerily similar to like the NFT mania, which is fun, right? It's like everything has its own little bubble cycle, so it's kind of cool that this is happening, but it's fueled by this resurgence of nostalgia, and the people of like the older Gen Z and millennials, like they have spending power now, so they just choose to spend it on things that like they have an emotional connection to, which is their childhood. So ties in with the whole nostalgia cycle. You're starting to see this like 90s trend happening on TikTok where it's like, Dad, what were you like in the 90s? And it's just everywhere, dude. It's like everywhere you look, it's like nostalgia. It's Y2K coded, which is like why I'm just hyped.
Yeah, I remember everyone thought that the internet was going to blow up when Y2K came around because it couldn't change the dates, right? Couldn't go to 00 for the year.
Yeah,
so
I bought a couple extra cans in preparation.
Did you?
There was actually something funny. Someone talked about how the AI, like Claude, didn't realize it was daylight savings time, so they had some kind of thing happening. They're like, "Oh, this is like the Y2K bug," when the computers weren't programmed to do that.
So you guys are all probably too young to remember. I remember it specifically. It was a big deal. There was serious concern. It was literally on the news every single day. The prep for Y2K. I knew guys who did businesses around it. You know, going into people's computers. You know, fixing dates. I mean, can you imagine this? But that's what it was back then. It was
yeah, it's funny.
It was real.
Is there? Okay, I did some research on this like token that everyone says we launched. The wallet had hustle tokens in it, but it was not deployed by anybody by us. So
a community member has launched a token. All right, got it.
Yeah, pretty much is at least that's what it looks like. So not us. Very interesting. Yeah, I love nostalgia. I was a big Yu-Gi-Oh person as well. I was a bigger Pokemon person, but also anime. Dragon Ball Z was like my shit back in the day.
Yeah, dude, early DBZ, early anime is just like Naruto is my show.
Naruto is good. Also, tell us a little bit about, why to migrate from Radium to Pump. We were talking about this with Jex a little bit of, some of the meme coin communities get split on the OG token and charts and community, but both of you seem to have had a successful migration of not just the token, but the culture and the community of a meme coin, right? It's a little bit different of a migration of a utility project, because it's basically the team saying, hey, I'm taking the token treasury, I'm migrating over here, and this is what we're going to use to fund operations and build towards. But with a meme coin migration, right, there's not as much of a central holding of a treasury, and it's more about the attention and the culture of the community moving over, which sometimes is even a little bit more difficult than actual centralized team saying, hey, we're moving.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult. Like, luckily for us, like we were extremely open about it, hosted multiple spaces, and a lot of the community was on board just because we laid out the pros and the cons, right? The only con, I'll lay out the pros and cons, right? The pros are we get creator fees, we get supply control back from dead wallets. For example, with Y2K, I think we had like 3,000 wallets that had $10 or something of Y2K. So like people just had a bunch of dust in their account that didn't do anything. We had a bunch of like people that just like lazy holders and stuff that just like they just don't contribute. And memes specifically are a very active like game. I personally, if I'm not active in a token, I don't hold it, just because these tokens are strictly built on belief and conviction. There's no quote unquote fundamental value here. So how can you reinforce your belief and conviction if you're not an active participant? It doesn't make sense to me, which is why I pretty much just hold Y2K. Just because it's like the only thing I'm actually active in. And I think for a lot of people, like that's the case as well. And so we really want to have a sense of who our true community of believers are, because they're making the coin what it is. We wanted creator fees to obviously do different kind of ventures within the Y2K ecosystem. So that, and then I think there was another pro I laid out, but I mean, those are definitely obviously the biggest pros, and essentially just being able to have a community treasury. And when you're a low cap, like us, like, right, we were like 500K market cap, like zero volume on the project for like over 7 or 8 months. I really don't know. And there's like no funding coming into the project. When it's a bull market and you can kind of create your own LP, and then and then your funding things are great. But after the volume dries up and there's no funding, and then essentially a bunch of the community kind of checks out, and then like you don't really have that much whale support, because I don't blame them, right? It's like a hard economy to just like continuously ask for funding each month, because to some people's surprise, running these projects is not a free endeavor. Like we're treating like a business. There's business operations and expenses that people don't think about. And it was like all paying from like me and like one other person, but like mostly me. And I was like, I just can't afford to continue doing this. And so there was two options. Yeah, right. You get it,
bro. I'm sorry to cut you off. I really want to add on to this too. There were so many people who were, in my replies for the article that I wrote, like, oh, why do you need creator fees for? Well, like, bro, like, especially for Michi, I don't think most people know how expensive it is for a meme coin to do anything, right? So I think, like Mr. Wizard was saying, there's small stuff that, that comes out of the team's pockets, right? And, these are stuff that I don't really care about, right? We pay for website hosting, we pay for, Twitter blue check, all that stuff. These are like the small things, right? But then you have the big things, right? We've had listings where we've had to ask for whales to get over hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And luckily we were able to do it in a very good market, right? But it's like pulling teeth.
Yeah,
right? It's literally like pulling teeth.
It's super. I feel bad about doing it, because it's like I'm like an annoying person, just like every month pinging like, yo, your membership dues are due, essentially, which is like what it feels like. And yeah, like when the market's hot, everyone's like, oh, fuck yeah, like here's like everyone has money coming left and right. But in a bear market, it's brutal, which leaves you with two options: either like you go into debt personally trying to fund a project for the good of the community, which was like the path that I was going on, or B, you like stop running the token, it goes to zero, and then everyone's screwed anyway. Or C, you migrate the token, you get like a path for longevity and sustainability. You get a community treasury, you get some supply control back, and you get funding. So we were looking at this and being like, okay, this is an obvious no-brainer. We're going to migrate. Yes, the risk is that we lose the chart, but regardless, it's like, who cares about a chart, right? There is no chart. But like that's no chart. Like there's a positive and negative to a fresh chart, right? Fresh chart, fresh start. like people like fresh charts, but then you lose the history. But that history kind of depends on the community's ability to remind people that this still exists. So it's not like the chart just disappears completely. It's still existent on the blockchain. We still have our entire history everywhere. So it's not like that goes away. So there was really no reason for us not to migrate, and then we just expressed like the why we're gonna do it and like why we needed to do it, and then we did it, and then we've had like great feedback from within. It's just the peanut gallery doesn't understand that these things like need funding to run, because that's how the space works. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the space; it's just life in general.
Yeah, it's like these are businesses, right? Like if we want memes, like specifically memes, which like that's the niche that I'm in. Like if we want these to go more mainstream and grow and be popular, it's like this is not going to happen without funding. Like imagine trying to run a business with zero profit. That's called a startup, and then you need VC investing, which is millions of dollars you can burn through. And we don't take the VC route. We don't have external funding. So there's only really one path to do it. And it's like creating a sustainable way to do it from within our own community. Because when you treat these like a businesses and you take these very seriously, you can spend money on marketing. You can spend money on like working on other social channels. You can spend money on creating like brands and companies and products. And it's like all this thing takes an investment and time, and you need funding to do that. And like if you do that properly, this is how memes kind of go mainstream and they get more popular, because they're treated as more than just dumb, useless scam speculative vehicles, because they can be so much more. So yeah, that's why it was a no-brainer to do this, and I'm glad that like we're one of the first people to do it, just because like people that take risks in the beginning kind of get rewarded. So yeah, I'm glad to be one of the few OG coins that are doing this, and I think that it's going to start a meta. Like I really do. After enough time, people are going to realize that most of the projects are going to die because of lack of sustainability. And so they're going to have to pivot and do this. Otherwise, like, good luck.
Yep. Yeah, to add on to that, I've actually, I mean, I'm not going to name any projects, but I've been, there's been two fairly well-known OG projects that, you know, I've been talking to, whether someone on their team or their dev, and they've been basically asking me about migration, how it's going, you know, asking me about some of the details. So they're probably considering it as well. So I think, you know, it's, especially if Y2K and Michi, you know, if our migration continues to do well, I think, you know, there's going to be a lot more of these OG meme coins that will heavily consider it and probably decide to do it, right? Because, you know, for us at Y2K, you know, like Mr. Wizard was saying, we're kind of like the pioneers in this regard, right? I think the only somewhat old meme coin to do this before was Sad, right? I think Sad was out for a while. I'm not really sure how long Cupsy was out. I never really paid too much attention to that, but I know Sad has been around for a while. But you know, so there hasn't really been an OG meme coin that actually went through the entire process of the migration, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of projects watching us, and if we do well, I think we're going to see a lot more coming in the future.
Yeah, I also like. Sorry, just to add on to that point, right? Everyone in the space has been dreaming about a resurgence of like a revival of meme culture, like 2024 meme culture, when like bag workers and like belief and tokens was actually real. And this kind of culture it still exists. It's in these older projects. And the way we can have a true like renaissance and revival of this culture is like, I think, through this migration process. So we want this like OG meme meta to kind of come back. I feel like this could be a potential catalyst to spark that reignition in belief, because like the best communities are already out and have been around. They just have a lack of sustainability because like we started pre-pump fund. So like this can kind of help kickstart the meta. And yeah, it's like I am calling it now, like this will start a whole like migration meta, because if it's done the right way and you put creator fees in the hands of the right people, then it's the most like beneficial thing to both project and community.
Let's go.
I agree. The one thing, and you guys are gonna basically set the template here, and maybe Son as well, is when you migrate an older meme, you end up with an excess of soul, which goes into the treasury. Actually, on my timeline, I saw somebody from the Michi community posting the 2000 soul treasury, and I know Jax had talked about it as well, right? And as you put it out public, right, the address is public. It shows what's there, and for the team or community, whoever's operating it, to decide on, you know, how to use those funds. And the reason why there's an excess amount of Solana is, I'll kind of explain if anyone's confused. So with a Radium LP, they have something that's called auto compounding. So over the history of an OG's or OG meme's lifespan, the 0.3% swap fee is just getting compounded and compounded and compounded in the LP. That's how you get these thick LPs. And I think Michi was in one of these situations, which a lot of team has reached out to us, which is the market cap to the LP is too close, right? The rate, it would call it the ratio, right? So Michi had it was like at the peak or whatever, it was like $1 million LP and like a $3 million market cap or something during that last run up. And it gets it really hard to move the price up. So when you migrate, you're essentially going through the pump bonding curve again, right? But just like a fresh token. And so to get to some of these market caps, like to get to a $10 million market cap, it's about 900 or 1,000 SOL. So if you have a thick LP, you end up with this excess of Solana in this treasury, right? And this is kind of where a lot of the FUDsters come in. They're like, oh, the team's just going to take that treasury and rug it or whatever. We have it set in place where during that 90-day claim period, a team can buy back the token with that excess Solana, but then afterwards, after a 90-day claim period, they could take possession of it. But as long as the team's transparent, right, like Y2K and like Michi, about that Solana, then it allows the community to add faith into the team, and you can also decide on how to utilize that over that 90-day claim period. So I think you guys are basically going to set a trend or a template on like what's the methodology to showcase to the community to kind of figure out how to use that excess treasury.
Yeah, and I think you know, you guys are doing the right thing, and you guys have been here building for literal years, which is an eternity in crypto. And as soon as you kind of want creator fees, the timeline runs amok. But for the latest monthly runner that's bundled 80%, that the developer ran off with six figures in creator fees, nobody bats an eye. But as soon as someone,
yeah, I mean,
you know, all of a sudden the timeline's up in arms. So I think it just goes to show kind of how early we are in the meta and how people always are just like assuming the worst. But people don't really know what it takes to show up every day for 2 years straight on a meme coin when the chart is extremely volatile and you're working through all the ups as well as all of the downs. And yeah, I do think that you know, creator rewards are built exactly for this reason and not the other reason. And I think that you guys can kind of begin to showcase that here.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, let's not forget, Pump Fund didn't used to have creator fees, right? Creator fees were created for what, you know, what Michi and Y2K wants to use it for, right? It's just, you know, how it ended up, you know, being, you know, why everyone hates creator fees was because, you know, it was basically got exploited by people with bad intentions for purposes that creator fees were never intended for, right? So it's not that, you know, like everyone on the timeline, I think from, you know, especially when Pump Fund came out with that cashback feature, right? That was when like it was like peak hate on creator fees, right? But well, yeah, you should hate on creator fees for people who are literally just max extracting and farming them, right? But let's not forget, creator fees were made for a reason, right? And what Michi and Y2K are trying to do, we're trying to use creator fees as they were intended. So, I mean, honestly, like I don't know why you would even hate on that. So.
I guarantee you, every single project that's like a good project that's OG would have launched with creator fees if they had the ability to do it now.
100%.
So it's like, in some ways, I think like they're almost like envious of the fact that we just took the risk and we did it first. And it's like it is a lot of work, right? Like you said, we don't have like a centralized source of funds, right? We don't have mass supply control, so it takes a lot of coordination and trust within the community to execute on this, which is something that a lot of projects don't have. So it's like when they see a project that's OG that's able to essentially get like a fresh start and a new way to go forward, they're like, damn, like I kind of want to do this. And then they see this on the timeline and then maybe they started funding it and now like they're trapped in their old ways. We're like, well, we're kind of screwed because like we can't do this now. So to them, I say, yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to keep getting heated at people.
And you guys are good. I'm excited to see, you know, where the future goes here. It's a right? We say fresh chart, fresh start, and you know, a new beginning in a new ecosystem. I do think a lot of others are going to follow suit. I mean, with memes in general, if you look at memes before they were tokenized, right, they generally had kind of a lifespan on the internet, generally a few months, and the good ones really a few years. You only have a few that ever kind of broke out past multiple years, right, being Pepe, Wojak, and a few of these. But now the proliferation of tokenized memes right, there's a new dynamic or element to it, and you have to continue to keep that meme alive in some way. And so this is a new method that memes are going to, pursue to try to continue on the tokenization of memes in a new world. So
yeah, 100%.
Is there, guys, we appreciate your time. We'll wrap it up here. Again, congrats again to the Michi team, to the Y2K team. We also had a few other migrating teams, War, Anova, Root. There was a few of them out there. Everyone, when you migrate, it's really just keeping the dream alive and continuing to build onto that vision. Until then, we're always available, and we're still continuing to work out a handful of things with some of these exchanges related to some of the migrations. But until then, everyone, please have a fun and safe Thursday. Be safe. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys soon.
Later, guys.
Appreciate it. Take care, lads.
Thanks for having us.